It was an ordinary day, the sun peeking timidly through the heavy gray clouds as my classmates and I embarked on a field trip to a quaint rural area. Our mission? To explore the historical homes of a bygone era. Little did we know that this day would etch a memory into our minds that would haunt us forever. As we arrived at the charming little town, the air turned icy despite the calendar suggesting it was a sunny spring day. The town had an eerie, forgotten quality to it, as if time itself had abandoned this place. Our teacher led us to a particularly intriguing duplex, a house frozen in the 19th century, with creaky wooden floors and a musty smell that clung to the walls. I couldn't help but be drawn to the darker, more foreboding side of the duplex. Ignoring the pleas of my friends, I ventured into the dimly lit, crumbling hallway, curiosity pulling me deeper inside. The air grew colder, and shadows seemed to dance on the peeling wallpaper. My heart raced, but I pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets hidden within the old walls. As I entered what seemed to be a child's room, a shiver ran down my spine. The room was untouched by time, toys and dolls strewn across the floor. There, in the corner, I saw her, a pale, translucent figure of a little girl, no older than 10, with hollow, empty eyes. She clutched a tattered doll with a face that seemed to glow eerily in the gloom. My voice stuck in my throat as I stared at the ghostly child. Her presence sent chills through my very soul, and I stumbled backward, my heart pounding like a drum. Her gaze followed me, those empty eyes piercing through my fear. Her whisper was barely audible, a chilling sigh that filled the room. "Daddy! Are you there, Daddy?" My terror multiplied as I realized that her voice came from the doll, its eerie glow intensifying. The little girl, or whatever remained of her, reached out a spectral hand, her cold fingers brushing against my skin. Panic overtook me, and I fled from the room, gasping for breath as I rejoined my classmates in the hallway. With a trembling voice, I described the horrifying encounter to my teacher and classmates. They exchanged skeptical glances, but my pale, trembling face convinced them of the truth. Our teacher decided to leave the duplex, taking the class with her, and the townsfolk had already gathered outside, murmuring ominously. As we retreated, the little girl appeared at the window, her empty eyes locking onto mine. Her spectral form and the glowing doll sent shivers down my spine, an image that would forever haunt my nightmares. My teacher led us back to the safety of our school bus, where the warmth and comfort of our fellow students slowly eased our terror. But that night, as I lay in my bed, the image of the ghostly girl and her eerie doll haunted me. Her soft, haunting voice echoed in my ears, and I couldn't escape the feeling that she was trying to convey a message. The advice I give to you, dear listener, is this: never underestimate the power of the unknown. Be cautious when exploring places with a dark history, for there may be things lurking in the shadows that you cannot comprehend. Sometimes it's best to leave the past undisturbed, for it may be better to remain blissfully ignorant of the secrets that lie hidden in the haunted corners of the world. I was in 5th grade when it happened, the school field trip to Wildhaven Wildlife Resort. Excitement buzzed through the air as our bus pulled up to the entrance. The lush forest, towering trees, and the promise of a day filled with adventure greeted us. Little did I know, it would turn into a nightmare I'd never forget. As we explored the sanctuary, I stuck close to my best friend, Lily. We watched in awe as the majestic animals roamed freely. The scent of pine trees and the distant calls of birds filled the air. But as the day wore on, something felt off. The forest seemed to close in around us, the shadows growing darker. It was during our visit to the bird enclosure that I first noticed it. A man, his face hidden beneath a tattered hat and a long overcoat, watched us from the edge of the woods. He was lurking, never moving too close, but never too far away either. A chill ran down my spine, and I tugged at Lily's sleeve, pointing him out. She brushed it off as my imagination running wild. As the sun dipped below the horizon, we gathered by the bonfire to roast marshmallows. The flickering flames cast eerie shadows on the trees. That's when I realized Lily was missing. Panic set in, and I frantically searched for her among the classmates and teachers. No one had seen her since the afternoon, and fear gnawed at me. The distant figure in the overcoat haunted my thoughts. The teachers called the resort staff and the police, and they initiated a search. But it wasn't until the next morning that we found her, disoriented and disheveled, miles from the resort. Lily couldn't remember anything, just that she had been with the mysterious man. It was as if a chunk of time had been erased from her memory. The police interviewed her, but the only detail she could provide was the chilling grin that had crept across the stranger's face. We returned to school with heavy hearts and unanswered questions. The incident left us all shaken. And then, weeks later, things took a turn for the bizarre. One evening, as I was scrolling through a photo album from the trip, I noticed something unnerving in one of the pictures. There, amidst the trees, was the shadowy figure in the overcoat. It sent shivers down my spine. How had he ended up in one of our pictures, and why didn't we notice him at the time? As the years went by, we never truly uncovered the truth of what happened in those woods. Lily's memory remained fragmented, and the mysterious man was never identified. But the chilling memory still haunts me to this day. To all those who hear this tale, remember that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. Be vigilant and trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, don't dismiss it as mere imagination. Stay close to your loved ones, and don't let your guard down, especially when you're in unfamiliar territory. And as for that fateful field trip, it serves as a stark reminder that sometimes, in the heart of the wilderness, there are things more terrifying than the wild animals themselves. So be cautious, stay safe, and never let your guard down when venturing into the unknown. I always loved a good scare, so when our junior high school organized a ghost tour field trip to the old Victorian mansion on the outskirts of town, I was excited. The mansion had long been rumored to be haunted, with a history steeped in tragedy. As we arrived, the gloomy mansion stood before us, shrouded in an eerie mist. The rusty iron gates creaked open, and we stepped into an atmosphere thick with anticipation. Our tour guide, Mr. Blackwood, led us through dimly lit hallways adorned with faded portraits and antique furniture. The air was heavy, and every step we took echoed in the silence. I couldn't help but feel the chill creeping up my spine as we entered the mansion's grand library, a room that had always been at the heart of the ghostly legends. The library was vast, its shelves stacked with dusty tomes. Mr. Blackwood regaled us with tales of strange occurrences in this room. Books would fall from the shelves, whispering voices filled the air, and even the occasional sighting of shadowy figures had been reported. As I glanced around, I noticed the unease on my classmates' faces. My two best friends, Sarah and Mark, were equally fascinated by the supernatural. We decided to explore the library further, curious to experience something eerie. It wasn't long before we began to notice the room growing colder. A faint, ethereal whisper beckoned us towards a hidden door concealed behind a bookshelf. We hesitated, but, driven by our desire for the extraordinary, we pushed the shelf aside and entered a hidden chamber. The air was thick with ancient dust, and the room was illuminated by a single flickering candle. Strange symbols adorned the walls, and an ominous aura enveloped us. Sarah whispered, "This is it, guys, the epicenter of the mansion's hauntings." As we ventured deeper into the room, an old leather-bound book on a pedestal caught our attention. It emanated a soft, eerie glow. Curiosity got the better of us, and Mark opened it. An otherworldly scream pierced the room, and a whirlwind of ghostly apparitions swirled around us. In a flash, the room vanished, and we were trapped in a nightmarish realm. The spirits of the mansion's past inhabitants told us of their tragic fates. We were powerless, unable to leave the spectral realm, destined to join them. Panic set in as we realized we would never escape. But then, one spirit offered us a chance at freedom. There was a way to break the curse that bound us to this place. We had to uncover the truth behind the mansion's most haunting secret, the reason behind the spirit's torment. The answer lay hidden in the pages of the book Mark had opened. For days, we scoured the book's cryptic pages, deciphering riddles and piecing together the mansion's dark history. The spirits watched, hopeful, yet unable to intervene. Finally, we uncovered the truth, a tale of betrayal, love, and revenge that had sealed the mansion's fate. As we spoke the final incantation, the spirits began to fade, their anguished wails growing faint. The room transformed, and we found ourselves back in the library, safe and unharmed. The spirits had found their peace, and we had broken the curse. We returned to the world of the living, forever changed by our encounter with the paranormal. The old mansion, no longer haunted, stood as a silent testament to our harrowing experience. So, to you, dear listener, should you ever find yourself in the presence of the supernatural, remember this. Curiosity can lead to unimaginable horrors, but with courage and determination, even the darkest of curses can be broken. Be cautious, for the unknown may be more dangerous than you can ever imagine.